Okay, semicolons. Let's do this. All right. I'm going to break this down between the two, okay? This is what?
Colon.
Okay. This is a semicolon. It's not just used for winky faces. Okay. The colon is used primarily to introduce a list. Okay. So if I say something like, my students are, I'm going to use a colon. Okay. I'm going to list James, Sydney, Jared. Okay. Do you see how that's a list? They were right here. Okay? That's a colon. It's used to introduce a list, or it's used to introduce a saying, speech, or quote. Okay? So I might say, yesterday, Sydney told me, okay, Martin Luther King once said, colon, okay? That's when you're introducing the quote. All right? You might use that in your essays, for example. All right? The author F. Scott Fitzgerald said the following, colon. Max.
Two things.
Yeah.
Actually, this one. Can you, when introducing a quote, can't you use a comma? So like comma and quote?
They're both technically grammatically correct. Yes. Okay. What the colon does is it makes it simple. It doesn't make it as messy looking. Okay? And then it alerts the reader that either a list is coming, or a quote is coming, or something's coming that they're listing. Okay?
Do you have to put the quotations if there's a colon?
Yes. All that applies. Okay? Now, the semicolon is where we kind of lose our heads. Right? We're like, what the heck is that? So a semicolon is used to separate items in a list. So if I have a crazy long list, like I said with my students, if I said, my students are, let me do it again. Jared, Sydney, James, Carson, Cove. I'm not going to list all of you, but I know all your names, I promise. Okay? So, if I'm listing a big list, if I put a bunch of commas, it could look messy. Another way if you have a long list is just semicolons. Okay? So that's one way to use the semicolon. Alright? To separate long lists of things. The other way, so that's this way. That was way excellent. To show a pause that is longer than a comma but shorter than a full stop, just pretend like that's not there. That one's confusing. You're not going to use it. Okay? To join two sentences which are closely linked. Okay? What the heck does that mean? Yeah.
So it's like two short sentences that
It could be one sentence.
Yes, person, hold on. So, do we all remember what an independent and dependent sentence is?
I do.
Jared, can you help me out?
Like independent is like I don't know how to explain it. Like it could go on its own.
It can stand on its own. Okay. I always told my 7th graders, because they think it's funny, like an independent woman, because they always like say, I'm an independent woman, and they're like 12. So an independent sentence is when it can stand on its own. Okay. In other words, it's a complete sentence. It has a subject and a verb, and it makes sense. I can come up to Robbie and I can say, I ate dinner last night. Right? That makes sense. Now, if I come up to Robbie and I say,
Ate dinner last night.
no, that's still, I'm thinking more like, before I had dinner last night, Robbie would be like, what? What'd you do before you had dinner last night? That's not an independent clause, right? That doesn't make sense. Okay, I can't come up to you and say, after I had dinner, comma, and then you'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about, lady. Okay? So, a semicolon can only join together two independent sentences, two sentences that are complete thoughts that make sense. Okay? So if I'm talking about Gatsby and I say, Gatsby loved Daisy. Is that a complete sentence?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now, what I can join next to the semicolon is another closely linked sentence. Okay? Gatsby loved Daisy, however, she... Someone finish it.
Did not love him.
Okay. sentences related? Yes. Do they have to be mirror images of each other like this? No. You could say, I went to the dog shelter yesterday, semicolon, but I ended up getting a cat. You use the comma there too. I ended up getting a cat. Okay? Person.
Could you replace it with and?
So, not necessarily. You could. Technically you could. Okay? So, do we know the rules for and but and or and all that stuff?
Use it one time in the sentence.
No. Whenever you use and, but, or something like that, you would connect it. So if I said Daisy loved Tom, comma, and she loved Gatsby. Okay, are those two complete sentences? Everyone should be nodding their head. Yes. Okay. What you could do, sure, is get rid of the and. So Daisy loved Tom. She, I might say, however, she loved Gatsby too, or she also loved Gatsby, something like that. Okay? The and connects the sentences, has to have the comma. With the semicolon, you have the option to do that, but you also have to make sure that they're related. That's the only time you use it. Okay? Is if like you're going on about the same subject. If I'm talking about like hurricanes and then I switch to frogs, I can't use a semicolon. Okay? I don't know where the frog came from. Hurricane was from Maui. You guys hear about that?
Yeah.
There's a kid, sophomore Lucas. He's from Maui. His family still has a house on Maui. And he's like, my house is gonna get destroyed. Yeah, he's like, we have plastic chairs on the deck. So does that make sense with semicolons? You're basically going to use a list, or you're going to use it as a way to combine two sentences which are closely related. Okay? Do we feel good? Can I get a thumbs up, a middle thumb, or a down thumb based on semicolons?
Wait, so between the middle and
James, how do you feel? Okay. Carson, what are we stuck on? If you ready, you can go take that test. That quiz. Okay, Carson, Max. What are we lost on? Okay. I think don't overthink it. Okay.
How many tries did you get?
I think 2 or 1.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. It's not a hard test. Okay. Are they closely related? If yes, semicolon. Okay, so Cove, where's your computer been? Or do we need a Chromebook?
Yeah,
Here, let me grab it.
I'm not allowed to do my computer school anymore.
Oh,
It's
no,
not,
what'd you do?
not the teachers, but like,
Oh.
I found out.
Oh. That's gonna be so neat.
It was kind of messy.
James, I think I have your picture up.
You have my picture?
Yeah.
That's kind of creepy.
I just keep pictures of James.
That's what my other teacher used to do. Well, I'd like fall asleep and she'd take a picture of it.
Oh. That's some kind of inappropriate to have pictures of kids on your phone.
I don't know, I thought it was made as
So, remember that other discussion board that you did where I said pick a character and focus on an event where that character does something that kind of exposes them? Okay? So a lot of you wrote about like when Tom hit Myrtle. What did that say about Tom's character? A lot of you did that one. Okay? So go back to that initial character you were fascinated by. Now that you've completed the novel, write another paragraph or so response on the discussion board. Hence, I said a paragraph or so response. Okay, so I don't want 2 sentences. I want you to actually explain your thoughts. Where you consider all the major events the character is involved in towards the end of the novel. Because the first one that you did, you only had the first half of the novel. What traits are revealed to the reader through that event, and what is the author's purpose for revealing the character in that manner? How has the character changed from your initial response and the first half of the novel? Okay, respond to at least one other person. Not 2, just 1 today. Okay? Because I want it to be a thorough response, because this is a lengthy... It's not just a couple sentences like the last one was. Okay? So, in summary, you're looking at the last half of the novel. Alright? The events that your character took place in. So, James, for you, did you do this? The initial discussion board, is this ringing a bell? Okay, so pick a character that you
Yeah, that makes
are
sense,
interested in,
yeah.
okay? So what I want you to do is to compare the beginning half of the novel to the second half of the novel. Okay, because you didn't have that initial discussion board. So you're just comparing how they've evolved from the second half. Because you could say a lot about Daisy, right? You could say a lot about Nick. You could say a lot about Tom. You could say a lot about anybody, really. If it was Meyer Wolfstein that you picked, alright? Yeah, how does he end up in the novel? And how was that a change from his really close relationship with Gatsby early on? Okay? That's what I want you to think about. How has the character changed? What traits are revealed to you through that event? And what is the author's purpose for revealing the character? Remember, an author doesn't do something just to do it. An author is creating these characters for the theme, to get his message across, okay? So what is he saying by using Daisy about materialism, okay? About the rich in this time period. I want you to think deeper than just the people in the book, okay? Make sure your response is thorough, lengthy. I'm not talking about like this long. I just want you to actually explain yourself, okay? If you can do that in 6 sentences, perfect. All right? If you need 15 sentences to explain all your thoughts on this, go for it. But if you give me 2, I'm telling you right now, you're not getting all the points on this. Okay? We'll go over the summative later, but go ahead and either finish your quiz or start working on this discussion board. So, Jared, Cove, James, stay with me for like 5 minutes, just so we understand this project. Okay? So you can smile. I just look back and you just always having a good time. Okay. So we're introducing the summative project today. All right? It's a poster, a blog, or a PowerPoint. Those are your 3 options. We're not yet writing an essay. Okay? But it's in the next unit. You're asserting a claim about the American dream, and you're supporting that claim using evidence from readings, including The Great Gatsby and other texts from this unit. Okay? It's due next Thursday. You will be presenting this in class. If we have an issue of some sort, I have a list of it we've already documented, and we will address it together. Okay? Rowan? Yes, we'll go over that. Okay? Consider how the characters represent aspects of American culture. No assignment right now, just view and plan today. Okay? So let's check it out together. This is the same thing I just said. So I'm going to click on it's worth 50 points. That's by far the largest assignment you've had. Okay? This is your rubric. Alright? Now, let me give you a little backstory on why we're doing a claim. Okay? What's a claim? A statement. Okay? Asserting. Cove. Stop. It's a claim asserting your opinion or your belief on something. Okay? It's something you could argue. That's a claim. Alright? We're practicing claims and evidence because guess what you are writing next term? Or, I'm sorry, next unit. An argumentative essay. Okay? A claim is a big part of an argumentative essay. If you look at the poster, the first thing under there is claim. This, what does it say, Cleo? The statement you are trying to prove to be true in response to the prompt. Alright? In this case, I want you, Cove, James, I want you to make a claim about the American dream. What do I mean by that? Okay, let's do this. Okay. Initially, when we talked about the American dream, it was success, wealth, all this other stuff. Am I right? That's kind of what we talked about as people thinking of the American dream. Okay. Now, if I... Oh, I didn't even do that. Wait, where'd it go?
That's your selecting process. You're on the arrow tool.
Where?
Up at the top.
Am I blind? Oh, okay.
Yeah, right there.
Here we go. Now it's not as pretty. Okay.
There's a shape tool right next to the arrow.
It's okay. We'll live. Alright, what was the first thing we read? Remember? It was called Indian Boy Love Song.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think that person's American dream was? Person.
So we know what's a word for their line.
No, you're thinking of New Orleans. Different one.
Is
Indian Boy Love Song.
Cultural,
Blending?
yeah.
Acceptance of cultures?
Yeah.
Okay. So, especially for him, right? Cultural acceptance was probably because he was embarrassed of being Native American, right? And never wanted to be involved. So you could say the American dream is about cultural acceptance. That's a claim. If you think that's what you got out of this unit, perfect. Okay? The next one we read, New Orleans. What do you think her American dream was? Remember, that was about her going back to New Orleans and kind of seeing the Spanish explorers' influence on New Orleans and the bones of her ancestors still there. Okay? Okay, so maybe her American dream would be to find... So find past or ancestors, right? Okay. Now, let's talk about Gatsby. What was Gatsby's American dream? Yeah, Ron.
To have Daisy and him live in this house that he's on as well.
Okay. Daisy or the means. And what I mean by that is the means to get her. Correct? Okay. Now let's do someone like Tom. Huh? What's Tom's American dream?
Money.
Money? Ladies?
That's what I said.
Right?
I said
Because he's got his honey baby, his wife, and then he's got his side pieces. Okay? He does, doesn't he?
I'm just gonna go with money.
Okay?
Because he
Either.
doesn't really care about either of the women.
Okay.
He's just more.
He doesn't care about the women. Like,
He just cares about the control of.
Okay, so maybe his American dream is control.
His American dream is control.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good.
Go with that.
that's a claim. Okay, Carson could say ladies. Because he wants to have a wife, he wants to have the family. Remember his big thing on the foundation of family and the intermarriage between black and white? Like that's breaking the foundation of marriage, but not cheating on your wife is. Okay? He wants to have that, then he wants to have Myrtle, and he wants to have all his mistresses, and he wants to have this bootlegging life, okay? That could be a claim too. Alright? So do you see how, and then, we could go into like, we talked a little bit about, because it was brought up in discussion, right? And then the Rise of the Colored Empires, the book, the African American struggles throughout history. You're learning about it right now in the Confederate units that you're doing right now, statutes, things like that. Okay, what is the African American dream? Okay, I don't need to know because that's not something we discussed. But if you want to pull in stuff from another class, totally do it. All right. So I'm showing you there are several ways to interpret the American dream, and when you look at it through literature. Not just through a basic perspective or a typical, what's it called when you have a stereotypical American dream, which is to become rich. There are a lot of ways that the American dream can be interpreted. Okay? So your job is to figure out which one of these claims, or your own, these are just some examples. There's hundreds you can choose from. Okay? And can you back that up by what is said in the text? So if you want to go with, if you think the American dream is something more about this, cultural acceptance, diversity, something like that, okay? You're going to have to pull in evidence from the texts, maybe the book, that you find to support your claim, okay? Now, keep going? Go ahead, Clea. Yeah, because your claim might not have come straight from The Great Gatsby. It might come from one of the other readings. Okay? So if we look at your rubric, Number 1 is the claim. Okay? So this is worth 50 points, remember? You check this off. Oh my gosh. Is this gonna work? Okay. You check. Over it! You check this off if you have a clear and strong claim. The less clear your claim becomes, the worse your grade gets. Okay? Reasoning and evidence. The claim is well supported and backed up by reasoning and or evidence from the course readings, novel, or discussions. Okay? There is a clear connection between the reasoning and the claim. Now, what's cool with this, let's say you're doing a poster and you're super artistic. If you want to represent the evidence through drawings, go for it. Okay? If you want to use quotes integrated throughout your presentation, go for it. If you want to write a blog that you are logically explaining the connection, that's fine. Okay? What I'm doing is I'm giving you options to show a claim and evidence however you want it to be. Okay? Whether it be on a poster, whether it be through a blog, or whether it be through a PowerPoint presentation. Any questions on that part? Rowan?
Kind of. I don't know if it's directly on this part, but if we're doing this, like our project on the great gods here,
Yes.
we have to take, like, if we're doing a PowerPoint presentation and we want to add pictures, are we allowed to use pictures from the movies?
Yes. Yes. Clear.
For the blog, during presentation, are you going to have it up on it?
No, I won't have people reading it, but you'll be presenting your claim and your evidence. Okay?
Okay, so like a summary.
Yes. Okay. This is a really simple presentation, so it's a good start. Right? Okay. Now, let's move on. So, Robbie and James, stay with me, Jared. We're almost done, I promise. Okay. Presentation format. The claim is presented in an organized, neat, and well thought out presentation form. Okay? If you didn't put a lot of effort into it, that goes against your grade. Okay? That does not mean you have to be Picasso. That just means it needs to look like you put some work in. Okay? Grammar, spelling, and punctuation. If you do a blog and there's just a ton of stuff that I'm like, good God, what are we doing here? Okay? It's going to affect your grade. Okay? If you forget to use quotations around something you're citing from the novel, you're going to get marked down for that. Okay? Lastly, this is big. If it's on time or not. That's 10 points of this assignment, is whether you turned it in on time. And these two are the same. The assignment is turned in late, but you're still able to present it in class. So you might show up late to class with it, but you still have time to present. You get a 1 out of 10. The assignment is turned in late without a presentation. If you don't present, the best grade you can get is a 42 out of 50. And that's if you did everything else perfectly. Okay? So do it on time. We have a week to do it. Person.
Are all the presentations going to be on one day or next day?
Yeah, we're going to do it next Thursday. They're not going to be long. You're not being graded on your presentation. You see, no, that's not what that's not our goal here. Okay? I'm not going to grade you on something that I'm not focusing on. So if I haven't taught you to present something yet, I'm not going to grade you on it. Okay? I think that's fair, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's good.
Because that can happen sometimes. And you're like, we never even talked about this. Okay. How do we feel? Do we understand? Thumbs up if we understand. Thumbs down. Thumbs middle. Okay. I'm going to come around to a couple of you who are still a little confused, and then we're good to go. Okay? I'm going to get some posters, hopefully by tomorrow. That'll be my goal. If not, then I'll have them at least next week. You can get your own too. Okay? If you want to do the poster. Rowan.
What's the max time?
Oh, I don't think. Because some people are going to be up here for like 20 seconds. So I'm not.
Can do this for 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not grading on your presentation. I just want you to get in front of the class. Unless we have some sort of agreement ahead of time with like accommodations or something like that. Okay? With getting in front of the class. But there is a standard. There's an entire section of standards in the Common Core for presentations. Okay? And again, presenting is something we've got to learn how to do and be comfortable with. for job interviews, for everything else, right? So that we can be comfortable. And if we can get in front of our friends and our peers and be okay with it, it's a good start, right? I'm not if you're gonna have a full meltdown, we're not gonna do it, right? So just talk to me, okay?
Okay.
Okay.